the mic, PTM. Here we are on Friday, June 2nd. Second podcast dedicated exclusively to the WNBA. How
Nice.
are we feeling today?
We're feeling good. Even though you just said this is exclusively WNBA, we could just talk briefly about the NBA game last night.
Yes.
Did you like it? Did you enjoy the game from what you saw? I know you were busy last night.
Yeah, I did. I caught I caught most of the first half. I got to watch. It's always fun to see when you make a prediction on a player doing well, and Aaron Gordon was crushing. So I was feeling great about that play. And I don't know. Are you sniffing a sweep possibly here, or I didn't catch a whole lot of the second half. So
if you asked me that question in the beginning of the second quarter, maybe middle of the second quarter, I would have said, yes, this series is over, like 4 games done. But the Heat made some nice adjustments. And I think they shot terribly from 3. They only got to the free throw line once, I think, or 2 free throws.
I saw 3, which was like the lowest number in any finals game ever or something.
Yeah. So there's a lot of upside, but I mean, Denver just looks great on offense, great on defense. So anyway, looking forward to that game. We'll definitely get a pod out to cover game 2 this weekend. So I can't wait for that. But tonight, like you said, we've got 4 WNBA games. And again, the sample size is getting bigger, so we're going to start to get better and better at this. And quite honestly, I just said to you before we jumped on the show, I got the WNBA League Pass the other day, a great value compared to the NBA League Pass at $29.99.
Yeah.
And it's been good. I actually have really enjoyed watching some of the games. I had a question for you before we dive into the games.
Yes.
Which WNBA logo do you like the best?
Which WNBA logo? Oh, putting me on the spot here.
Because while you're looking them up, I thought I need to get a WNBA hat, so I was thinking about getting the Liberty, but I can't get into that like minty green Statue of Liberty color. So
yeah, I can't either.
So I think that the Lynx might be a nice logo.
I'm pulling them up right here. Who do I like? I do like the LA Sparks. I must say. I actually like the Chicago Sky.
That's a nice one too.
I think that's cool. Yeah.
The Atlanta Dream is kind of nice.
Dream is nice, and Seattle Storm I like too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get some hats going.
Indiana Fever looks too much like a baseball logo.
Yep.
Yeah, don't like that. Connecticut Sun is brutal. Lynx just looks like they copied the T-Wolves.
Yeah, maybe that's why I liked it. They replaced a T-Wolf with a
and
cat.
That was it. Yeah, I have a hat with that exact logo on it. T-Wolves.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly. Maybe that's why I liked it. All right, cool. So let's get into today's game. So we got a 6:00 game. The Liberty at the Sky. Sky are getting 10 points at home. So this league is really like a 2-team league. I forgot.
You sent me that this morning.
Yeah, if you go up on DraftKings, I'm pulling up what the odds were. They have a WNBA futures bet, and the Aces or the Liberty to win is minus 550.
Yeah.
Right, and then the other 10 teams in the league, the field is plus 450. So it just kind of shows you this is really just a 2-horse race, but Chicago's got a decent team, and there's a few others that might be competitive, but it does seem like it's going to be Liberty Aces at the end.
Yeah. I think you got the return of Courtney Vandersloot to Chicago, where I guess I think she played for many years. So you got some narrative there, possibly.
That's next level right there. You're already getting into narrative stuff.
There you go.
All right. So what I looked at before we talk about the player props, just looked at kind of like where these teams are offensively, defensively, because I think it helps frame how the game is going to play out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Liberty are the number 5 team out of 12, right? In terms of points per game, really, fairly good offensive team. They got some of the best weapons in the league. probably more importantly, they're the number 2 defensive team in terms of opponent scoring. So
Okay.
they're going to clamp down on the Sky. The Sky are the number 11th team in the league in terms of scoring. So they're going up against the second best defensive team in the league,
Mm,
and they're number 11. So that doesn't equate to good results from a scoring standpoint. They're the number 4 defensive team in the league in terms of scoring. So that's pretty good. Liberty are number 6 rebounding, and the Sky are actually the second number 2 rebounding. So, with all that said, obviously the Liberty have the upper hand here, but and anybody standing out for you in terms of matchup?
Matchups, forwards against the Liberty, specifically rebounding. It was like one of the top rebounding averages so far this young season. So that's Kalia Copper. Then on the other hand, centers against the Liberty have one of the lowest rebounding averages. That's Elizabeth Williams. Can look at her. On the Liberty side of the ball, Chicago actually is not a great matchup for the guards. So Ionescu and Vandersloot, not in great matchups on paper here. At least, averaging only 8.9 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 2.9 assists per game. That's a 15 PRA that guards are averaging against the Sky. So worth noting. And then centers are a good matchup. 15 points per game, 9.3 rebounds, almost 27 PRA. So that would be Jonquel Jones. So those are the people to look at in this game.
Okay. All right. So let's start with Vandersloot. So she's really the best guard in the league so far this year in terms of handling the ball, dishing the ball, and she's got these crazy weapons around her with Stewart and Ionescu. So her line the other day when we cashed, I think was 7.5. She's 3 for 4 this season, 3 in a row, averaging somewhere 9.5 or something like that assists in those 3 games. Returning back to where she previously played. I heard you said it's not a good matchup. What do you think about 8 assists for Vandersloot again tonight?
Yeah, I see it's at 8.5 here.
Oh, went up. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's probably good. What do we say? Yeah, I mean, guards averaging only 2.9 assists per game. I would just going with the numbers here. I kind of want to. I would lay off, though. It does seem.
Yeah.
I would lay off. But yeah, I mean, she's got a nice ladder, 6, 8, 10, 11. The assists just keep going up. And I'm sure she'll be juiced up to go play against her former Chicago teammates. So I don't know, but nothing, not something that I'm feeling to put out there,
Okay. And you mentioned Jones. Last game we were under her 9.5 points. I think it was. She ended up with 9, like in the first 2 quarters, and then just sat there the rest of the game.
Yeah.
You think she's? You said she's got a good matchup.
I mean,
Would you play her?
center's averaging 15 points a game. Her line was 9.5. It's gone up to 10.5 here. I know she stayed under, but it didn't seem like she was going to stay under. I'm kind of encouraged by those quick 9 points she had, and now in another good matchup. It won't not another good, but now in a good matchup, whereas that wasn't a good matchup previously. That was a fade-worthy matchup. I think I might go to her here. I just don't love her minutes.
Yeah, her minutes are terrible. She
She's
is
under 20
averaging
every
like
game.
18 minutes a game.
Yeah. So
And it seems like she plays more in the first half than the second half. If so I think she's tempting to play, but I would also lay off.
yeah, probably. Yeah.
But she's at some point in the season she's going to become a good opportunity, right? Her minutes, she was playing almost 25 to 30 minutes last year. They're gonna up her usage, and I think it'll be a good opportunity when that happens. So
yeah, you look at the end of the season, 28, 31, 30, 30, 30, 29,
yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but
All right, cool. And then we got Copper again, who was not great for us last time we played her, but I do kind of like the forwards against the Liberty. like I said, Chicago's number 2 team in the league rebounding, and the Liberty are actually only number 6 in the league, so they're kind of middle of the pack. So her rebounding line today is 5.5. She's done it in 2 of the 5 games. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I'm leaning towards yes on this one. Forwards averaging 7.5 rebounds per game against the Liberty. So I think that might be a play, especially with you giving out those high rebounding stats for Chicago and not so great for New York. I think this makes sense as a play. I think I will go back to her. I'm liking this.
Okay. All right. So 5.5. That's up on Prize Picks. I might even just wait until the props get released on DraftKings, see if we can steal
Yeah,
this for 4.5. I would like that better. That gives
that
us a
would be
3 out of
lovely.
5 hit rate.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
all right, cool. So the only other play I had on this, despite the matchup that you said, I do
yeah.
think Ionescu is a good play. 16
Yeah.
and a half points, 2 out of 4. I love her minutes. She plays 30 plus minutes every game.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just, I watched a little bit of the Liberty game, but I think she is a real big piece of that offense. So
Mm-hmm.
I think she's worth a play. But again, I wouldn't go too big on it, just given that it's not the best matchup.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Yep.
All right, let's go to the next early game. We got the Wings at the Mystics. Mystics are -8 at home. Um, the Wings are 3-1 on the season. Mystics are 2-2. All right, so in terms of offensive ranking, the Wings are the second best offensive team in the league. Number
Okay.
2 in scoring in terms of points per game. Number 11 in terms of defensive. So they score a lot, give up a lot, right?
Mm. Right.
And number 7 in terms of rebounding. Mystics are the opposite. Number 10 in scoring, number 3 in defense, number 9 in rebounding. So lots of potential opportunity for rebounds on the Dallas side. This one's a hard matchup to figure out because you got a good offensive team and
Mm.
going up against a good defensive team. Really is what you got. So,
Yeah.
all right. So who do you like in this game?
Guards have a good matchup against Dallas. So your guards for Washington, you have Ariel Atkins and Natasha Cloud. And I think Elena Deladon, she's a guard forward, so I think you can look at her too here if you wanted to. Though I have her on my sheet in the forward spot, but I think you could probably look at her here. And then on the other side, forwards against Washington in a nice spot. So that's Sabali and Natasha Howard. I like both of those today. And then centers are fade worthy here, specifically for rebounding. So that's Shakira Austin, only averaging 6.3 rebounds per game. Teams going up against Washington. So I might look on a fade on her there. But those are the matchups.
Okay. All right, let's start with Deladon because I liked her.
Okay.
Um, Her line today is high. It's 21 and a half points. She's only done this in 2 out of the 4 games. But what I liked was here are the teams that she's played so far: New York, Connecticut, Chicago, all top 5 defenses.
Mm.
And her scoring has been progressively going up. Started the season with 13 points, then scored 19, and then the last 2 games against Connecticut and Chicago, she scored 27 and 25.
Interesting.
So I think these are this is a good matchup for her, especially since you called her out, as a potential guard flex.
Yeah.
Um, High point total, but I still like it, 21 and a half points.
All right. I like that. I think she's a former league MVP. So
Yeah, yeah.
she's yeah. Um,
Okay.
all right. I didn't have any on the Washington side, unless you had any others.
No, my other
No.
2 plays are on Dallas.
Okay. So yeah, so I think I like going to we talked about this real quick before we went online. Satu Sabali, over 21 and a half points. I think that's the same play you were on as well, right?
Yes.
Last 3 of 4. She's cleared that in. Centers, forwards are a good matchup, averaging 15.1 points. So obviously that's under this line, but that's one of the highest averages, at the forward position against for any team. Can look at that. They're averaging 22. I look at like combined shots, so I add like all their field goals, all their field goal attempts, 3-point attempts, and free throw attempts into one metric to just kind of see how many times they're getting the ball up. So it's 22 shots, we'll call it. So that was one of the highest out of any position. So yeah, I'm on Sabali here, over 21.5.
Yeah, that's good. I like two things about her. First of all, she's the fifth highest scorer in the league with averaging 22.3 points per game,
Okay.
behind Jewel Lloyd, who's basically like the only offensive player I think on Seattle, Brianna Stewart, Gunawale, and Jackie Young. Right, so those are all stars or people in good situations. So she's a rising star. And I think, like you said, a good matchup. And she also plays good minutes, 33 and a half minutes she's averaging this year. So,
Yeah,
so
played
I like that
39
one.
in that last game. Yeah.
Yep, I like that one a lot. This will probably not be a blowout. It's kind of a weird matchup, like I said, offense versus defense. So
Yeah.
this could be a tighter game than that -8. Okay, so I'm on that one too. And then who else do you have on Dallas?
On Dallas, that was the only one that I had as a pick. Yeah.
Okay. What about Austin? You mentioned potentially fading. You like that enough to put that out as a play?
I don't think so. Her 3 last games rebounding was 11,
Oh
8, and
wow.
11, and center's averaging 6.3. Her line's 8.5. I just don't. I don't know. I'm not comfortable going there.
Yeah. I think that was a lesson we learned last week with or last time we played with McBeggar, right? She had a monster game, looked like a good matchup, but I think if you see any of these, 10 plus rebound games and the
Yeah,
lines below that, maybe given the earliness of the season, you lay off those for now.
yeah.
Okay. On the rebounding side, I thought it was a good opportunity for rebounding for Dallas. I did like Arike Agunbowale, 4.5 rebounds. She's done this only in 2 out of 4 games this year, 4, 4, 5, 5, but she's averaging 38 minutes a game,
Big minutes. Wow, look at
big
that.
minutes.
Yeah,
So I think she is actually leading the league. Yeah, by far. I think the
it's
next
got to be.
highest,
Yeah,
yeah, next highest person is like at like 37 or something like that. So she plays huge minutes and she's in a decent matchup and she's cleared it in the last 2 games. So I think that's worth a
makes
worth a
sense.
play
Yeah,
as well. Okay.
yeah. All right.
All right, cool. Let's move on to the champs. Las Vegas Aces at the Atlanta Dream. Dreamer plus 12.5. Aces are 4-0, and the Dream are 2-2. Now, Aces are very easy to describe. They are number 1 in scoring, they are number 1 in defense, and they are number 1 in rebounding. So you look at them and you're like, all right, they just got the season, but they've played really bad teams so far. I think they've played the Sparks a couple times and they played Seattle once. And I'm trying to remember who the 4th team that they played was, maybe the Mercury or something like that. So they haven't really played a formidable opponent yet. So the Dream are, number 3 in scoring, number 6 in defense, and number 5 in rebounding. So
Mm-hmm.
this will be more of a challenge than they've had all season. So,
Okay. Interesting.
yep.
Interesting. Matchups. We have forwards, not great against Las Vegas. Only averaging 10 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 15 shot attempts. So not great. So that's Cheyenne Parker. We can look as a possible fade target here. That was the only thing going up against Vegas. Against the Dream, we mentioned this on our previous pod. Forwards still in a nice matchup here. One of the best on, I think it is the best forward matchup on the board. So that's Aja Wilson, and then I think who's forward, and then I think you can also look at Candace Parker, who's like forward slash center. I have her on as a center here, but I think we can look at her here, and then I don't know if this is risky or not, but Atlanta seems like guards not performing well. So possible fade targets: Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Even Jackie Young, though I have her in the forward spot. Um, she's listed as a guard, but I see she kind of plays like small forward. So, but guards only average less than 10 points, not actually exactly 9 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 15 shot attempts. So maybe I might have a an under on Kelsey Plum here.
Let's start there because I also had an under on Kelsey Plum.
Okay, I had
Um,
her under PRA.
yeah, I was trying to scramble a little bit, and because I initially had the PR, but then I just noticed it's not actually available on Prize Picks. So the PRA I think is the next best. The PR was looking even better at 22.5, but it's not a real line. PRA is 25.5.
Yeah.
She's only crossed that in the first game of the season against Seattle, where Seattle
Yep.
like gave up 100 something points, I think. And then if you look back to last year, she's got a 61% hit rate, so it's okay, but it's not great. Not a 80% or anything like that. So, yeah, what do you like about it?
Yeah, guards are averaging 15.3 par against the Dream. So that's a solid 10 below her line right there. And like I just said, she's been under her last three, 17, 24, 17. So I think this is probably seems a little bit scary given everything we know about her, but I think this actually makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yes. This is a play that makes sense on paper, and
Yeah.
we might look back at it tomorrow and be like, "What were we thinking?" But
Yeah.
it definitely, she's also a super high profile player, and
Hmm.
that is going to lead to more people playing the over on her. So there's probably going to be
Great point.
continuous value all season on her under.
Yeah.
She is a great player. She's got a really good handle,
Hmm.
like really good. Like she's very dynamic. So it is scary playing the under, but I think it's good value given what we've seen so far this year.
It's great point. These public players, right, that are like that just get a lot of over money. The book's job is just to balance both sides, right? They don't really care what the line's going to be. They just want to keep it
Right.
even on both sides. So yeah, you'll players like this are people to keep an eye on throughout the season to target those unders. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's probably even more true in the WNBA than the NBA, where
yeah,
there's the visibility of the players is lower than the NBA.
yes.
So, but yeah, she's great. But we're fading her. All right, who else do you like?
Okay, so I mentioned the forwards against the Dream. Great matchup here. So I thought this one you would like here. Aja Wilson over 1.5 assists. Their forwards are averaging 2.5 assists against the Dream. She's done this in 2 of her 4 games, but she's cleared it in her last 2. She had 2 and 3 in her previous 2 games. So I know you like those nice low lines. We could get that taken care of in the first quarter, possibly. So I thought that was an interesting, fun one.
Yeah, yeah, she has done it in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Um, she's also exceeded her scoring in the last 2. Yeah, that looks like a pretty good play. Um, I think, like I said, I think the defense that they play tonight is going to be better than anything they've faced so far this year. So she might have the need to pass a bit more.
Yeah.
She's the reigning MVP, right, of last year. Is that correct?
I think so. Sounds right.
I love putting you on the spot.
Yeah. I see that.
Don't do that to me.
You look it up. You look it up. I'm gonna go with my next pick here. Unless
Yes,
you had something else on her.
she won her second MVP and first Defensive Player of the Year. So
Wow.
she's pretty good.
Two
All right,
assists. Come on. We
two
got
assists.
this.
Come on,
That's it.
double MVP. You can get us 2 assists.
That's right. And then I liked Candace Parker over the line on Prize Picks is an even 7, which I like. Her last 3 games 8, 7, 8.
What are we
So
talking about? What's that?
rebounds. Candace
Okay.
Parker rebounds.
Yep.
At forwards are averaging 7.5 rebounds. I think it's and she's at that forward center position, so even a little bit higher for the centers. So at 7, I like it. She would have pushed in that one game and then hit in the last 2. So Let's go with Candace Parker over 7 rebounds.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she had 8 rebounds last game against Chicago, who's the number 2 rebounding team in the league. So I like that. Her minutes are, kind of variable. She's had 30 minutes to start the season, and last game she only played 21. That's a challenge with the Aces. Like they
You're
could.
looking at Cheyenne. You're looking at Cheyenne Parker.
Oh, I am sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
wrong Parker. That is the challenge though with the Aces. That statement still holds. Is like you could potentially get a blowout, and then and these older players
Yeah,
will
she would not get
potentially
the run.
sit,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So but I like it. Let me see. Sorry. Okay, yeah, we got Candace here. Oh yeah. So 8 and 8. Yeah, very consistent minutes though. So the opposite of what I was saying, 22, 23 minutes every game.
And I like just
Um,
looking at the end of last season there. I really don't know much about what was going on, but her rebound totals were much higher. So, we'll get some regression towards the mean here and get a 10 rebound game out of her maybe.
yeah, was she on the Sky last year? Is that correct?
You putting me on the spot again?
Yeah. Come on, man. Hold on. We're gonna
No idea.
verify that. Yeah, I think this is her first year on the Aces. I told you we're gonna work through a few little kinks.
Yeah. Learning every week.
Um, yeah, yeah, she was on the Sky last year.
Oh, so
So
they
just
lost
keep
Vandersloot and Candace Parker. Some big
yeah, so
losses.
just keep that in mind as we as you look at players. There were a lot of big name players that moved teams this year, so it's going to take them a couple games to get into form and kind of figure out how to play with these new teams.
Yeah.
But I would also be cautious looking at last year's lines with Parker, just because very different situation,
Yeah. Yeah.
much better team. All right, cool, very good. I promise I won't put you on the spot the rest of the show.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, let's go to the last game. We got the Sparks, your hometown team. You better go out and get a Sparks hat this weekend at the Phoenix Mercury. Mercury -3.5. Both teams are not good. 1-2, 1-2. They did play already once this year. I think they kicked off
Yeah.
the season. LA won 94-71, and Griner kind of had the big game. I think that was our first game back, 18-6, and Tarasi had a decent game too, 15-7. Sparks, fourth highest scoring team in the league, so that's good. That's something to note for this game. Is they are a fairly good offensive team. They are not a good defensive team so far. 9th overall, and I think they're 12th in rebounding. So they're also a terrible rebounding team so far. On the flip side, the Mercury really aren't doing anything well. 9th scoring, 8th defending, and 11th in rebounds. So I think the opportunity here that I see reading that is that the Sparks will score a lot against the Mercury. So hopefully you've got a play that fits into that narrative.
This, not really here, but let's see.
All right,
Let's see.
I do. So we'll come
Okay.
back to that after you're done.
Okay. I think because these seem like two kind of middling teams, not a lot was popping out matchup wise. The two most favorable were guards, specifically assists for guards against the Sparks. So you can look at Tarasi and Sophie Cunningham assists for those two, and then against Phoenix. I think they were by far had the lowest rebounding average at the center position, only 6 rebounds per game. So there you can look at Shanae Owumake. You like how I pronounced that?
I did. Very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. I practiced that one. So yeah, you can look at the under on rebounds for her, and I guess let's go right there because that was a play I like here. Under 7.5 rebounds is the line. They've only played 2 games, right? Or she's only played 2 games.
Yeah,
No, they've only played. The
they played
Sparks have only
3.
played. They played 3.
No, oh maybe they only played 2.
Yeah, they've only played 2. That's weird. That's not,
Okay.
how have some teams played 5 and they've only played 2? In any event, she had 7 rebounds in her first game and 8 in her second game. And I think, I guess that's probably Brittany Griner is a good rebounder on the Phoenix side. So maybe that's why they're rebounding on the opposing teams going up against Phoenix. Hasn't been great, but yeah, I think we'll go with the under 7.5 rebounds for Shanae here.
Yeah, they did play 3. They played the Mercury and they won, and then they played the Aces twice. So, okay,
When you look on props, everybody only comes up as 2 games.
okay,
Oh,
yeah. But keep that in mind as well as we kind of analyze their performance so far. 2 out of their they dominated the first game, right? They won 94-71, and then they got dominated the next 2 games against the Aces. So they might be a better team than what they appear to be. So just keep that in mind. They just played 2 out of their 3 games against the Aces.
Good point.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Who else do you like?
The only other one I had was on the Phoenix side. This guard assists for guards against the Sparks is a nice matchup. So I thought Diana Taurasi over 5.5 assists. The guards are averaging 5.3 assists per game. She's done this in 2 of 3, and her last 2, including her last game where she had 10 assists. So she's increased each game 5, 6, and then 10. So I like that 10 in the last one, and that was against different team. But anyway, I like that. Those are my only 2 plays from this game.
5.5 assists, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's up to 6.5, but it still looks like
it's not. I just checked. I don't know why that's wrong. I just
okay.
checked Prize Picks. It is 5.5 still on Prize Picks.
Good. That's good. Yeah, no, I think that's a very good play. She's also played. The first game she only played 28 minutes against LA, but the last 2 games she's played 33, 32 minutes, and those were not very close games either. So, I think I think that's a good play for sure.
Nice. What do you got?
All right, so I'm going back to my narrative play, offense against the Mercury. I kind of liked Lexi Brown. Her point line was, why did I not write it down?
It's 10.5.
Yeah, 10.5 points. So far this year, she put up 14 against Phoenix when they last played, 15 against Vegas in the first matchup, and then 3 against Vegas in the second matchup. So, I just think the fact that she's already played Phoenix and crossed the line by a good margin is a good sign. I think also the fact that she put up 15 against Vegas as well is a good sign. She got the volume in the third game. She put up 7 shots, which is the same as what she had put up in the first game against Phoenix. She just didn't score, and she also didn't get to the line in that second game. So I think she just had an off game that third game.
Okay.
So I think she has a bounce back game here against a team that she's already familiar with. I think she clears that 10.5 with ease.
Nice. I like that. That's good.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think that does it, right?
I think so. We made it.
Yeah. I think we're also going to have to get into some of these game picks too. Not today, but I think there's lots of opportunity, especially when you think about like parlaying a couple of these games together where there's clear favorites. I think there could be some good opportunity there.
Yeah. Some big talent discrepancies. I think we could take advantage of that with some nice plus money parlays. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, cool. Well, enjoy the games. Like I said, first one kicks off at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So,
ooh, all right,
just jump on that right away, and we'll be back, this weekend with an NBA pod as well.
Can't wait. All right. Nice
Okay.
work, Dave.
You too. Bye.
Take care. Bye.